We have seen the bad code, 210 lines of code, and we saw the 7 problems. Now let me show you how engineer thinks when they see code like this. Not just what to fix, but how to think about fixing. The mental model that turns chaos into clean architecture. Now, before we write a single line of refactor code, I want you to see the destination. Think of this like a blueprint. Architects don't start building, they plan first, they see the finished building in their mind before laying the first brick. And that is what we are doing here, seeing the end before we begin. Here is our starting plan. We have one file, bad code, and 7 problems. We have the global variables, we have DOM and logic mixed, we have no communication system, we have memory leaks. An engineer looks at this code and asks one simple question: what is wrong here? Not how to fix it, but first, what is wrong? So, first question is, toDate picker cannot share the state. Why? Because we have global state. It lives at the top of the file. Any picker that runs uses the same variable. To fix this, we will extract into its own state. A StateManager.js, encapsulated, isolated. That is our episode 6. Next question is, right now in our code base, component cannot talk. And how do we connect them? That is our question. So, in our bad code, if a date picker needs to tell the input field, hey, date changed, it cannot. They don't know about each other. To fix this, we need a message system where a publisher announces events and subscribers listen to that. Nobody needs to know who is on the other hand. For that, we will create EventBus.js, and that is the observer pattern. The same thing DOM events uses, same thing views emit uses, and that is our episode 5. Our next question is, when we create the event bus, we will write hard-coded events. But there are chances that we do some typo and our event will fail. It will not throw an error, but it will be a silent failure. How we prevent that? For that, we will create a event.js.file. We will extract all the events name into a single file, and from there we will use that single file in our complete date picker. That is our episode 7. Next question is, right now our render function is doing 4 things. It's doing date calculation, HTML generation, CSS classes, state comparison, everything in just one function. If you want to change the date logic, you might break the styling. If you want to change the HTML, you might break the state checks. To fix this, we will create a one separate file. And that file has one job, rendering the date picker. That is it. One file, one job. We'll create CalendarView.js, and that is our episode 10. Next question is, if client wants to show a custom icon on certain days, how do we do that? In our current code base, you would have to open the core code and add if statement, and you hope nothing breaks. But that is not how we are going to do it. We are going to create SlotManager.js that will give us power to replace any part of the day without touching the core code. Same thing Vue and React uses. That is our episode 11. And here is one more question. Right now, we cannot test the date logic because it is inside our render function. If we want to test it, we have to set up everything, the function, the browser and everything. That is not a testing. Testing should be very simple. You give it input, it gives you output. To do that, we will use pure functions. We will extract all these logics into single file, and we will have ability to test them individually. And that is our episode 12. Next question is, if we want to add a new feature, let's say you want to disable the weekend or add some custom dates, some min-max dates or holiday markers or keyboard navigation, how do we do that? Right now we have to open our code, our core code base, and add conditions there. But that is not how a feature should be. Feature should be installable. If you want a feature, you add it. If you don't, you remove it. That's how a feature should be. And for that, we will create plugin system in our date picker. And that is our episode 14. And the main thing, how do we connect all these files? Like we have extracted EventBus, StateManager, CalendarView, SlotManager, date-utils, plugin systems. Something needs to wire them together. To create instance, connect all of them and expose the public API. And that is, we will create our main class. I'll create bw datepicker.js. I'm adding the bw, the black and white, as a brand. You can add your name or any other name, and we will create this bw.datepicker file. And we will have a clean architecture, single file doing, single job, completely clean code. And here is the engineer's mantra. So whenever you see a file doing too much, or you see so many lines, you cannot test something, you ask one question: what is this code's one job? And if you cannot answer it, you split it. Now you have the blueprint, the mental model, the destination. Starting next episode, we will build piece by piece. First up, our event bus, the communication layer. I see you in next episode.